Recording on the Zoom. Recording on Wirecast. And we are live. Welcome to episode 16, everybody, of the RINO podcast. I'm Jeff Simone. She is Kaitlin at The Factual Prep. And don't forget to sign up at patreon.com/RINOpod, patreon.com/RINOpod, patreon.com/RINOpod for all your RINOpod needs. Oh, boy. Kaitlin, how have you been? You went to Austin.
I went to Austin. I cracked my tooth in half.
What the hell did you do that for?
It's a tooth that I've always had a problem with. And at the perfect time, it just cracked right in half on vacation.
What did you bite? Nothing?
Nothing. I think I probably did eat something and it just at that moment did it. So.
But you got the shot, your second shot the day before. Any reaction? Did you feel like crap or what?
I took 2 Advil.
Okay.
Right after I got the shot, just in case. I was like, you know what? It might be like pretty fast. I took 2 Advil. I took an emergency packet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took I love Gwyneth Paltrow, so I took one of her little Goop vitamin C packets too.
Yeah.
So I overloaded with vitamin C, and I was pretty fine on the plane the next day.
I think that's what I'm going to do. My second one's coming up in a few weeks or in a week or two. Yeah, I'm going to load up on vitamin D, vitamin C, drink plenty of water, take some Tylenol, and ride it out. Because, you hear horror stories about all these kinds of things. And
yeah, well, I keep on asking people, I'm like, so did you take Advil right after? Did you drink orange juice, or did you do anything like that? And they were like, no, but I felt like I had the worst hangover of my life. And I'm like, oh, so you did nothing? Okay.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Yep.
Right.
May want to correct that.
But Austin was fun. Austin's always fun.
It's the land of the free, right?
Yeah, it was great. So down there, outside so they have, I don't think they have a mask policy anymore in the state, but I know that Austin City does. So you only have to wear it inside. It was great. Outside, we were fine. I kind of understand maybe wearing it inside for just the time being until they get the numbers up on vaccinations, kind of, sort of. But I'm vaccinated. But I guess maybe my thing is I don't want to have to be flashing my vaccination card to not wear a mask.
No, the vaccine passport, even a default, we start using it as one, is horseshit. I think within a couple of weeks they'll lift the Massachusetts outdoor mask mandate, which was stupid to begin with. And you know what bothers me really a lot right now? You know what grinds my gears?
What grinds your gears, Jeff?
The people who are like, well, now that I'm vaccinated and, I've waited the appropriate amount of time, I'm going to go out for my run without my mask on. It's like, buddy, you could have gone for a run without your mask on the whole time. Some person who's been great about this is Jennifer Braceras, sometime opinion writer for the Globe, and she used to be with New Boston Post and goes on NECN sometimes. She's really great. But she's been from the beginning outdoors. There has been a distinct difference between outdoors and the people that pretend that this thing can be transmitted outside. You just want to give them a smack. And it's like, oh, well, now you got your vaccine. You're going to take your mask off? Really? Because it mattered before? Do you want to almost be like, you think you're smart. Are you smart? Because you're not acting like you're smart. It's just performative.
I read a quote from the founder of JetBlue this morning on someone's Twitter that said he just wanted to smack people who double mask because it's so stupid. And then if he's like, you're a moron if you wear it outside.
I got to say, I don't know that. I think maybe indoor masks do perform some mitigation, but probably not a lot of mitigation. I imagine if you sneeze or cough, it will slow down the spread of the droplet particles. But the virus actually goes through the fabric.
Right.
It's small enough to travel through it, but I guess it's
everybody in the room would have to be wearing one for that to work, right?
Right.
Like if one person's not wearing one, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So All right, that's our mask tirade for the day. Well, good to be back. Welcome to all our new viewers. We're going to hit a couple of topics for folks live on Twitter. We'll be putting this up on YouTube for free, and then we'll be cutting over to for the good stuff on Patreon. But first up, Kaitlin, is our old friend. You know, I tried pulling up the article on so let me try to on the Boston Herald, but it keeps kicking me back to a paywall, and I just let's see here. Okay, perfect. Free one on MSN. Let's do a little screen share for the audience here, and we'll put that up. And we'll do that. Ayanna Pressley, a vocal proponent of rent cancellation, made $15,000 in income as a landlord. Now, oh boy,
What a hypocrite!
I want to scream. I mean, she is. I'm so glad this came out. Honestly, this one
What a
particular
hypocrite!
Yeah, it's
honestly so egregious. Like 15 grand. Like it's not like $1,200. Maybe I get it. No, 15 grand. It's $15,000.
let me. I want to give her, if she owns rental property and is a landlord, good for her. Good for her.
She's an entrepreneur.
I got no problem with that.
Cool.
Fantastic. Don't suddenly say everybody else needs to cancel the rent. And somehow the rest of so she knows how important that rental income actually is. She's not detached from the situation or the concept. She totally gets it. And to just say, push out, well, all rent should be canceled, as if you could do something like that. I mean, I guess the thing would be to tell every renter, stop paying your rent, and if they try to kick you out, then the landlord has no legal recourse. But I can guarantee you the landlords are, of the least smaller properties are going to find ways around that. It comes with a whole host of problems, not to mention the fact that people who might be out of work are getting more money from collecting unemployment right now. So they're actually having a hard problem finding people to hire. So there's plenty of money to get in people's pockets so that they can pay their rent, inflated money. But this is just like, this came out this week and I was just laughing. I'm like, so typical. And of course she's completely silent, and only the usual suspects, the Herald, I've heard a couple blurbs, complete silence from everybody else in media because they have to protect their fair hair girl.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, it just is hypocritical. Like, bottom line, like, she sits here and acts like we need to cancel rent. We need to put a moratorium on it, like, completely until COVID's over. And at this point, like, you and I see the employment reports, like, we know that the economy is coming back. Like, I was in the airport last Sunday where it was like a mad rush in the JetBlue terminal. Like, we know the economy is coming back. Like, it is hypocritical for you to be on this policy of cancel rent and then to bring in 15 grand in money from being a landlord. Yes, like, it's just kind of a little too on the nose, like, right? Like, the progressives are always the worst on their policy.
Socialism is never for the socialist, it's for the people.
Right.
She's not a member of the people. And
No.
it's like the BLM founder leader has 4 houses now. 4.
Yeah.
That she bought with those money. And you hear her reasoning, well, it's to take care of my family. Well, no shit. It's to take care of your family.
Like everybody else, really?
Yeah. But Marxism for everybody else. She's a Marxist. Marxism for everybody else, but capitalism to take care of my family.
Yeah.
Funny how that works out. Like, astounding hypocrisy. But maybe it's not even, the hypocrisy is the wrong word because they don't believe in these ideals. Ideals would be, hypocrisy would say if they believed in the ideal, and then they went against it, but they don't believe in freedom and capitalism to begin with. However, I guess it's hypocritical to the Marxist and socialist ideal, so
Yeah.
maybe it cuts the other way too.
I just sent you something interesting I did see in Texas, if you want to pull it up, because it does have to do with Ayanna Pressley and maybe the unemployment, where we talked about how people are getting more on unemployment than they are working.
All right, let's show our audience here. Screen sharing from Kaitlin's own photographic entrepreneurship here. What Shiner is that? What's Shiner beer? Is that a beer?
It's a beer. So this was at Doc's backyard. It's a restaurant in Austin. I think it's a chain, and the owner, or I don't know if it was the franchise owner of this specific one. He was actually doing an interview on this quote when I was there. Thank you for staff for showing up and working as some unemployed choose not to work.
Right. And this is a real thing. Let's not discount it here. This is a real thing.
But that has to go along with Ayanna Pressley's, moratorium on, collecting rent and all of that stuff. She voted to push UI benefits to September. So people are getting UI benefits and choosing not to work. They're choosing not to enter the labor market right now.
No, good friends, run businesses, other businesses and colleagues that I know are having this exact same problem. People are not coming back to work because being on the dole is more beneficial.
Right.
Or they're taking home more money. And of course the dumb progressive will be like, well, then they're not paying them enough anyway. I'm like, stupid. They're just printing money and giving them more than what they were earning before that with printed money. This isn't going to end well.
Right. Yes. Well, we know it's not ending well because commodities are through the roof, right? So
yeah, well, commodities are real things.
Yeah,
commodities are real things, and when you print money, that doesn't exist. You create it out of thin air. People are going to take that money and buy real things with it. Yeah, so we're probably due for an inflationary spike. I mean, we're already seeing it in some areas real soon.
And we already know the Biden administration is discussing it on the back end, but not openly. So
correct.
That was reported.
All right. Well, on from Ayanna Pressley's hypocrisy. Next up, a little inside baseball for our Massachusetts GOP friends. And this came up from WGBH. Asian Republicans charge Mass GOP with discrimination. So let me read the first few from Mike Dehan, our friend Mike Dehan. A battle over the control of the state Republican Party has led to claims that its leader has discriminated against Asian American voters trying to fill a vacant political position. In a letter to the National Party officials, more than 24 Vietnamese American Republicans alleged that Massachusetts Republican Party Chair Jim Lyons led a callous and underhanded scheme to discriminate against Asian American voters trying to reorganize ward committees in order to fill 2 open seats representing Dorchester and South Boston on the Republican State Committee, the 82-member panel that governs the party's activities. Okay. Chairman Lyons is demanding that in order to reorganize, all of our members must prove their identities through carefully coordinated back-to-back Zoom meetings under the Mass GOP's watchful eye, the letter said. Okay.
That's weird.
Well, hang on. Let me go back to this view for, I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate, not too much. There are very convoluted, strict rules to establishing RTC, RCC, and ward committee stuff. I think proving who you are and that you're a registered Republican are all valid things. That's a broad, sweeping statement, and Jim denies it. I'm going to give Jim the benefit of the doubt on this because some of the stuff is very convoluted in setting up an RCC for valid, what do you call it? Acceptance into the party as an organization. Having said that, he should be trying to help them navigate the paperwork, navigate the particulars, because when I went to Baker's second victory party, there was many dozens of Vietnamese Americans from downtown Boston, the Asian community, who were vociferously supporting Charlie Baker and Republicans and wanted to be Republicans. Like they're escaping the communism that was in Vietnam. They get it. We should be accepting them with open arms and not making it more difficult and helping them along in the process. So if Jim's doing things where he's just saying, well, you're not following the rules to the T, maybe he's technically correct, but he shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
He should be openly accepting them and helping them establish a ward committee. Now, if he's either lazy and not doing that, or the committee is being lazy and not helping that, or there are things where he wants to protect his seat because he has a very slim grasp on holding the power. I mean, granted, his election was in January, and he barely won. But this is the complete wrong way to approach it.
Absolutely. I mean, again, like we should be bringing people into the party, not trying to make it harder to join and be a part of the party in the state, considering the financial issues that we have. So why are we being a little bit purposely obtuse here on this? So, yeah.
I feel like I feel like you have more to say on this topic.
I mean, I just think it's like we should be bringing people into the party. Why are you being unhelpful into bringing any new people, and especially more demographics that we need to be reaching out to? If the national, and this comes from National Party based on 2020, our minority outreach was incredible. And I've spoken on this multiple times. Okay. So if we want Vietnamese Americans and Asian Americans in Dorchester and South Boston to be creating RTCs, help them make RTCs. That is good for the state party. It's good for the national party. So why are you being defensive and just not even helping? Makes no sense.
And to put a finer point on it, the Trump campaign in 2020 made a concerted effort to reach out to Hispanics and Latino. Yeah. They actually did a very, very good job.
Yeah.
And Mr. Trump, Humper, Jim, you're not going to sit up there and not take a page from a successful campaign effort to reach out to minority communities by the Trump campaign. And you're just going to, it's just, the only reasons to not do this are bad, right?
It's a consolidation of power. It's very what it is.
It is. So he'd possibly risk losing his chairmanship or losing votes that he needs to get the things that he wants done. We'll get to that in a second. It looks terrible. It's a terrible look. Press like this and inside the bubble operations like this, or none of the above, and it's just too lazy.
Yes.
To put the effort into it. All of those are bad options.
It's just funny. Like, I mean, if we complain about the state party becoming too Trumpy, Trump did amazing in 2020 on reaching out to minority voters. Why are you stepping on literally what his campaign tried to bring into the party and into the state parties? I mean, in Massachusetts alone, we had Latino growth all over the place. Lawrence, we had it in Falls River. We had it in Lynn, of all places. Lynn. Okay. So why are we trampling on that with Vietnamese Americans? We want them in the party. They literally survived communism. Literally what we oppose. Like literally socialism.
So
and we're not giving them a chance to come in and making this easy for them.
As we talk about it more and more, this comes to light, the consolidation of power angle becomes more apparent. And the big problem with that right now is the smart guys, they've got a plan, Kaitlin, and they're going to get Jeff Deal to win, I won't say the nomination, but to win convention and possibly, this is their master plan right now, to keep Charlie Baker off the Republican ballot as a Republican if he doesn't get, to change the rules so that, like right now, 15% is the threshold to run statewide as a Republican if you go through convention. I think they're trying to change those rules, and this is in the article, so that they would either raise the threshold and then manipulate the RTCs in a way so that the delegate count at convention would be constructed in a way that would block Baker. Now,
do we want to lose?
Jim wants to lose. Jim wants to lose. This is nothing to do with beating Democrats and winning. This has to do with being, I don't know, the smartest Kardashian or something like that. Like I normally say do another analogy, but
losing to own the libs.
Basically, but they just want to run a dying party, and the thing is they think it's not just Jim. There's other people I won't mention who think they're so smart. They think they're so smart, and they're spending their money, and they're doing all these things, and they're making themselves look ridiculous. Okay, they're trying to be kingmakers, power behind the throne, but they don't realize that the throne is sitting on a pile of shit because we keep losing elections. And it is aggravating because they're not acting as if they're professionals in this. They're not acting as if they know what they're doing and how to run an organization. And they're just doing this penny ante, pissant, backroom deals and trying to manage things to get their own done. Do what Trump did. Trump tried to at least reach out to get new voters. He expanded his voter base, okay? And through mail-in voting, he got beat. But he got what?
If he had been on board with mail-in voting, from the beginning and done an accurate, like a really good campaign for it, he probably would have won.
That's possible.
I do.
But what was his 2016 vote total? 69 million, something like that.
Well, it was not even that, right? So you have to work off the EC. I mean, really, he lost by 42,000 votes with minus whatever. So
no. But talking raw vote totals, he increased his vote totals by many millions. I think 5 or 6 million.
Correct.
More votes from 2016 to 2020. Those votes came from somewhere. Okay, and a huge chunk of those came from minority community outreach that he did.
I mean,
and Jim and the folks that are getting involved in this nonsense are casting all of that away.
Yep.
To try to get Jeff Deal to get the nomination for Baker, so that they can control Jeff Deal and hope that the Democrats nominate somebody ridiculous that Jeff can beat. That won't happen. That won't happen. Jeff will lose to Joe Curtatone. Do you understand me? Okay, so this is what my friends who don't want to get involved in this and they're on the sidelines. I know you guys listen to this stuff. You have to get involved with this. Go back to your RTCs, get involved, recruit more delegates, because the nonsense has to stop. All right, and well, that's all I'm going to say.
Very passionate. I mean, I think I'm going to need to blow that one up on Twitter with a hashtag just to make sure it proves a point. But anyway, it's why I don't understand why. I'm sorry, wins are wins. Like, you need to really look at it as a zero-sum game. And that's the way that I treat a lot of this politics stuff. We need to beat them. So I don't know why you're being petty on the sidelines, pushing forward someone who can't win versus someone who has almost 70% approval in the state and is a proven leader over petty sense. It just doesn't make sense.
But you said it. That's the understanding right there. That's why. It's just petty, personal offenses that somebody took, and they don't like them because they were kept out of some, I don't know, position, or not inside the room when decisions are being made, or whatever they think that where they need to be. This is petty politics at the expense of the party and the state.
Yes. My other concern is where the national party comes in and kind of says, what you're doing here is not good for the national party. I see this on many state level parties, like with Virginia GOP right now, which is right now imploding very quickly. And it looks like the national GOP needs to come in and kind of be like, what's going on here, guys?
Oh, well, my sources tell me that Jim is strongly disliked by the RNC because of stuff like this. But basic blocking and tackling, he just doesn't do what he's supposed to do, which is
well, the
national
GOP sees politics through a zero-sum game, like most of us do. And in order for us to advance our principles and our beliefs, then we need to win. Yeah. So if you're putting us in a position where we can't win and we can also not bring in money, where you're having to beg for it, that's a problem. So again, my question is, where does the RNC come in and say, or do an audit of the state party or something like that? I don't know.
Right. Well, we shall see. Things happen. All this stuff, there's reactions to all this stuff. I know everybody thinks they're the master of the universe, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Right.
All right. Next up, our friends at Beat the Press. Let's hear from those fine folks.
For Fox News, Tucker Carlson Tonight is a ratings juggernaut. Last month, it averaged 3.2 million viewers, making it America's most watched cable news program. But those ratings come with a cost, intense xenophobia that may be what Fox viewers want, but has already been catastrophic for the country. Adam Riley has more.
Last week, Tucker Carlson offered a forthright synopsis of how he views the politics of immigration.
The Democratic Party is trying to replace the current electorate, the voters now casting ballots, with new people, more obedient voters from the third world.
And he insisted, despite the phrase more obedient voters from the third world, that's not racist.
I mean, everyone wants to make a racial issue out of it. Ooh, the white replacement theory. No. This is a voting rights question.
To which the Anti-Defamation League replied, yeah, actually, that is racist.
The great replacement.
Okay, well, so this is the thing here. Do you accept, this is the thing, you make a case, you make case A.
Yeah.
And your political opponents go, no, you're not making case A, you're making case B. And even within case A, you state, like, let me be clear, I'm making case A. I'm specifically not making case B. And you make that within case A, and your opponents just go, yeah, no. We're going to say whatever. We're going to say you're doing whatever we say you're doing. Now, the simple question is this to all the folks that Beat the Press: is the Democratic Party and progressives, are they engaged in an effort to massively increase the number of illegal immigrants into this country for purposes of changing voter demographics within the United States? Now, they're on record as saying yes. So I would have to assume that the answer is yes. Am I wrong or am I right?
I think you're right. I mean, first, I don't watch Tucker regularly. I don't watch cable news hardly at all unless it's clips. And then I watch the full clip to see if the person's being taken out of context or not. Allow Tucker to say what he's going to say. And it was clear in the clip that they put on Beat the Press that he was not angling for that angle. So, again, argue based on merit alone of his argument. But I'm not seeing that. I didn't see that from the ADL CEO. And again, the ADL CEO is kind of one of those people that I'm like, he's been wrong on many things. He sometimes refuses to stand up on anti-Semitism where he needs to. He has his own criticism. So,
well, the what I found odd is that they're saying it's some, the accusation is it's Zionist conspiracy or something like that. And in the clip itself, Tucker goes out of his way, not even talking about Zionism or any of that stuff, just goes out of his way to clearly say he's not talking about the other thing that the guy from ADL and Beat the Press is talking about. Now they go on to, thump their chests and clutch their pearls out at the false argument, the straw man,
right,
in that clip. But You know, we keep pointing this out. Week after week, we keep pointing out how they're wrong because that's what you need to do. It's like this is going to be like I don't know, you know, crabgrass control in your backyard because we're getting into that season. It's just like something you're going to have to deal with on a regular basis. It's not
Right.
going to go away. You're going to have to perpetually call out why they're wrong and eventually erode all of their credibility if they have any left over and over and over again because they're just not honest about what they're talking about. They cover media and they're the most dishonest people covering it that just don't talk about, you know, maybe one of the 4 or 5 panelists got up there and said, well, you know, he clearly states that he's not talking about what the Anti-Defamation League chair is talking about. Does that count for anything? Does intent count for anything? Does him overtly saying it count for anything? You know, and maybe if one person on the panel does do that, I'll watch it later. But Emily Rooney certainly doesn't. Callie Crossley certainly doesn't. And in Adam Riley's reporting, it certainly doesn't. So I like to pick on them because, well, they need to be picked on.
They should be picked on. If they're the critique, they should also be critiqued.
Correct. Correct. All right. We are at about a half an hour here, Kaitlin. We are gonna switch over to the Patreon. So come join us on the Patreon where we are going to talk about one of my favorite authors who I'm having a problem with, Jonah Goldberg. And this is a new development. For those of you in that universe, inside the bubble of where we are with David French and now Jonah and the conservative movement and the fracturing that's taking place, come join us on patreon.com/rhinopod, patreon.com/rhinopod. It's only $1 a month. You'll get exclusive links to our Patreon videos, as well as occasional articles, things like that we post up. And we always appreciate our patrons' support. All right. Any last words for the folks out there?
No.
All right. Get vaccinated, everybody.
Yeah, get vaccinated, everybody. We're done with this shit. Just get vaccinated. Come on. Let's move forward.
All right. Talk to you next time, everybody. Have a good Sunday. Bye-bye. All right. We are